Back at it again, baby, and we have another one with Ben Shapiro. Let's dive in.
The left makes the claim that the American economy relied on slavery to its benefit, and that even those who didn't benefit from slavery indirectly benefited from slavery. But there's only one problem with this claim. It doesn't make sense. Slavery was, of course, a very important part of the American economy, but it was also the most backward part of the American economy. Free labor is more economically efficient than slave labor. There's a reason that Alexis de Tocqueville, touring the United States in 1835, described the South as a society, quote, gone to sleep. In fact, the growth of the Southern economy remained slow all the way from basically the beginning of the Republic through the Jim Crow period, because during slavery it was slow because it was all agricultural and because it wasn't using free alienation of labor. And then it was slow because of Jim Crow. And then after Jim Crow, suddenly the Southern economy starts to boom, and you start to see a net migration back into the South after the end of Jim Crow. During Jim Crow, black citizens are fleeing to the North and bringing with them the intensive human capital that they bring with them, right? They make Detroit rich, for example. Instead, after the end of Jim Crow, people start moving back to the South. So the idea that Jim Crow made places richer, made the American economy richer, or that slavery made the American economy richer is obviously untrue. If slavery had been an economic winner, Dude, don't worry, there's Q&A. If you want to be the first person in the Q&A. If you want to be the first person in the Q&A, it can be you.
What did he say?
If slavery had been an economic winner, Dude, don't worry, there's Q&A. If you want to be the first person in the Q&A. If you want to be the first person in the Q&A, it can be you. Okay. Okay, you're perfectly...
I like, why is he even trying at this point? He's literally the only person standing. Everybody's booing. Like, at that point, you probably should just give up. Nobody's gonna, even if you had a great point, nobody's listening. Not a single person. So take that L, sit back down, wait until the end where there's a Q&A. Then restate it where everybody's actually listening to what it is that you have to say so you can get your point across, right? Y'all let me know in the comment section though. I don't know. Like, I just find doing all this kind of pointless.
Okay. Okay, you're perfectly welcome to ask a question. If slavery had been an economic winner, the South wouldn't have been roundly defeated by the industrialized North. The end of slavery meant a drop in agricultural capital in the United States and a massive uptick in industrial and housing capital, as well as in other domestic capital, according to far left economist Thomas Piketty. Our labor stocks...
Is that guy still yelling in the background? Because it sounded like for a second like Ben, brought the volume of his voice up a little bit to make sure that, everybody could hear exactly what it is that he's saying. But it sounds like the guy's still yelling in the background. Just give up. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with some folks. Like, we don't want to hear you speak. We came to hear Ben speak. Let him speak. Right?
In the United States, and a massive uptick in industrial and housing capital, as well as in other domestic capital, according to far left economist Thomas Piketty. Our labor stock soared, our capital stock soared in the aftermath of the Civil War. Dude, like, really, you can ask a question, I promise. You can be the first person to ask a question. You can...
ridiculous speech that he's making. Where's my free speech?
Your free speech is during the Q&A, dude. I mean, like...
During the Q&A. I believe that I should have free speech now.
Well, nobody hired you to come up here and talk. So if you want to convince somebody to hire you to talk... It is economic illiteracy to suggest...
That is facts. It's exactly what I said earlier. We came to hear Ben speak, not him. And apparently Ben got paid to go and speak up here. So it's even worse. This event paid for him to speak. So of course they're going to want him to speak. And then they try to bring in free speech. On one hand, these folks want to take away free speech. But then on the other hand, they want free speech. On one hand, they love free speech. But then on the other hand, they want to destroy the Constitution, which gives them free speech. It's so backwards, it doesn't even make sense. The one thing that gives you the ability to speak out against whatever it is that you want to destroy. You want to take away the Second Amendment. We already don't really have free speech on social media platforms. So the next thing is just real, zero free speech out in the real world. I don't know. It's just so backwards. It's crazy.
It is economic illiteracy to suggest that America's economy is rooted in slavery. We are a highly industrialized economy. We have been for more than a century. And even when we were an agricultural economy, slavery was an economic drain on everyone other than slaveholders themselves. This means that the authors of the New York Times 1619 Project are forced into the unenviable position of blaming slavery for America's prosperous system of free market capitalism, which requires a hell of a trick, since free market capitalism is precisely the opposite of forced labor. So we end up with the absurd spectacle of Matthew Desmond suggesting that the quote-unquote brutality of American capitalism is
He's still going. And you could tell, I mean, you can kind of hear it a little bit, but like all these guys and gals are like turning and looking at him because he's still making a fool of himself. Like, I don't understand. Like, give it up.
Of Matthew Desmond suggesting that the quote-unquote brutality of American capitalism is modeled in slavery.
Terrible speech, Ben.
Okay, I've offered the opportunity for this gentleman to be first in the Q&A line, and now he's actually just disrupting the ability of everybody else to hear the speech. Honestly, I have a 3-year-old who disrupts this way. Proponents of the view that slavery is the root of economic inequality also make this argument, that slavery is the root of economic inequality between black Americans and white Americans. And there is clearly and undoubtedly truth to the idea that economic history impacts economic present. Obviously, history always affects the present. Such history can mostly be seen in statistics like the wealth gap, which of course measures accrual of wealth over the course of decades. And so, naturally, redlining in 1960, racist policy in 1960, can have effects on inheritance in 1980, which have effects on wealth ownership in 2019. Of course, that's true.
Yeah.
But the continuation of income disparity among races in the United States is today overwhelmingly not the result of racism, Jim Crow, or slavery. Income mobility and disparity is a statistic that should worry us. Honestly,
I agree at this point.
Honestly, I'm more than happy to have this person ask a question, but this is now the 4th time that we've been interrupted during the speech. Sir, if you can't at least sit down and be respectful to the other, 1,500 people in the room, then get up and leave.
That's another great point, too. If you dislike the speech so much, if you hate Ben so much, why are you there? Time is the most valuable thing we all individually have because you can't buy it, you can't recreate it. Y'all know the whole spiel. Why are you wasting it? I sit here every day thinking about, man, I wish I had more time. And yet you got folks like this that are just wasting it. You don't get this time back. You don't. And you don't know when your expiration date is coming. It's not like stamped on your forehead so you know June 28th, 2024 is my expiration date. Like, you don't know. Tomorrow could be it, and you just wasted your time. For what? Am I right? Do y'all feel me? Like, would you waste your time on something that you completely hated or disliked? Would you waste your time going here? Let me know in the comment section. I wouldn't. I value my time. I already feel like I don't have enough of it. So, of course, I'm not going to waste it.
I'm simply not going to continue this nonsense until this person leaves, frankly. I can't, I'm sorry. I can't continue. This is silly. I appreciate it. Honestly, that's too bad because you heard it. I offered multiple times for him to ask the very first question. I'm more than happy to talk about the points. I'm not more than happy to have someone disrupt the speech for 1,500 other people because he can't keep his mouth shut so long as the speech continues. Now listen, slavery has been a feature of societies across time and place. Freedom is what makes America unique, not slavery. Freedom is what makes America unique. We are a country based on freedom, not on slavery.
Right on. Let freedom reign. And, I feel like Ben was more than reasonable in that situation. More than reasonable. Like he said, he offered multiple times. Hey, yo, no problem. I hear you. I'll give you the first opportunity to speak. You will be the very first person. I will make sure that you are not skipped in the Q&A. You will be first. What more could you ask for? You are guaranteed the first question, and yet, you still... Listen, if I was in Ben's position and you interrupted me more than once, I'm telling him the second time, hey, yo, get him out of here, yo. Get him out. I offered you an opportunity. I'm not trying to silence you. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to take away your freedom of speech, but you're just interrupting everything. You're just being annoying and trying to masquerade it as free speech. Free speech. No, that's not free speech. That's just being an idiot. He didn't say that you couldn't speak. He just said you couldn't speak at that very second, that very moment. Let him finish. Let me finish. If I was up there, let me finish what it is that I have to say, and you will be first in the Q&A. Do y'all agree? Let me know. Or do you feel like that's infringing on free speech too? Talk to me. I don't think that it is. I feel like that was more than reasonable. So yeah, and also a second thing is what I stated earlier. I don't know if this was a paid event. I would assume that it possibly could have been, because Ben was paid to go there to speak. And last time I checked, Ben gets paid a lot of money to speak. He said it once, how much he got paid. I want to say it's a high number, like 6 digits and higher, if I remember correct. But so the venue paid to have him come, and possibly the people in attendance paid to attend. So now you're wasting their money and wasting your time, technically, as well as theirs, because you're just extending the speech longer because you keep interrupting, and Ben has to continually stop. So that was just ridiculous to me. But that's just me. Y'all can let me know how you felt about it in the comment section below. Like, share, comment, and of course, hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.